welcome you. It's day 2 of competition here at the Daihatsu Japan Open. First round action today, all our matches from the first round and all our matches from the bottom half of the draw. And up next, after that men's singles, we turn our attention to women's singles. And it's home player Miyazaki up against Han Yue of China. Han Yue is the number 5 seed and she's a former junior silver medalist at the World Junior Championships, and she's up against a former gold medalist at the World Junior Championships. Well, this, as you can see, is from the bottom quarter of the draw. Akane Yamaguchi, the 4-time finalist and 3-time winner, is already safely through. If you were with us a little earlier today, you will have enjoyed that match against Pumpui Chochuwong of Thailand. Well, here comes the youngster. She only turned 18 4 days ago. That's absolutely extraordinary, isn't it? She is making her first appearance here at the Japan Open. Whereas her opponent, here she is, Han Yue, the seeded player, the number 5 seed, is making her 4th consecutive appearance here. First meeting between these two players, and that's not altogether surprising considering Miyazaki is just come out of junior badminton. In fact, she could still play in junior badminton because junior badminton is under 19 years of age and she's only just turned 18. So a change of ends before the start of play. And there is a definite drift in this wonderful arena. I've been sitting watching, and as far as I can make out, the drift is flying faster towards the far end of the court as we look down during the rallies, and I think there's a sideways drift as well, from right to left. So Tomoka Miyazaki, as I was telling you, only just turned 18, 165, that's about 5'5", and she's a couple of places down at the moment from her career high ranking of 24. Already won a title this year. In fact, it was her first ever World Tour title. That was at the Orléans Masters in France. Her opponent, Han Yue, is 24 years of age from Zhangzhou in southern Fujian province on the east coast of China. And she, like her opponent, is 2 places down from her career high. She's been as high as 6 though, and that was for one precious week at the end of May earlier this year. Well, last year, Han Yue was a quarter-finalist, losing out in that quarter-final to Tai Su Ying, who then lost in the semi-final stage. So our court officials for this one, umpire from Korea and the service judge from Sri Lanka. Big wind up to the serve. We'll see more of that as the match gets underway from Miyazaki.
Ready to play.
As the umpire calls for play to get underway. Now, not only has this young lady won the Orléans Masters, also been in the final of a World Tour event, and that was last year when she was promoted from the qualifying at the Korean Masters. That was also a 300 event, losing out in that final to Kim Ga-eun of Korea in 3 games. So she's a precocious talent, there's no doubt about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, on my right, Tomoka Miyazaki, Japan. And on my left, Han Yue, China. Han Yue to start, level play.
So it is the seeded player the number 5 seed Han Yue from China. Far side of the court as we look down, getting this first round women's singles match underway against Tomoka Miyazaki. Oh, that's a good start, Steve. I said that this Japanese youngster was a precocious talent.
It's going to be really interesting to see, because this is one of the matches where, I mean, I have Han Yue as the favorite, but it's not without a possibility of an upset.
No. Good rally. Oh, that's landed in. Steve, quickly, I was giving my take on the drift.
Yeah.
Do you concur with me?
I concur on the sideways drift. I'm not really sure about the lengthwise drift. I think it's rather slow. But I keep changing my mind. Sometimes I think that both players are playing up against the drift, actually.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Now, Steve, tell me, I mean, for those who may not be familiar with Miyazaki, you and I have watched her, not often, but we have watched her. Just give us a summary of what her qualities are and why we think she's got so much talent.
Yeah, super...
3, 1.
I haven't seen her that much, but I think what I've seen is that she's got super shot quality. She moves well, makes good selections, shot selection in the situation. That's super important, being able to judge what kind of situation am I in, what situation is my opponent in. She can... I wouldn't say it's a strength, but she can go on the attack. She's a little bit taller than some of the Japanese players that we've used to see dominate the World Tour, Okuhara, Yamaguchi. But a super interesting player in the world circuit. We saw the last tournament she played was the Indonesia Open.
It was indeed.
Where she took a game off the now Olympic champion Anse Young.
5-1.
Took the opening game and then faded a little bit. I wonder whether physically, I mean, of course she's not physically developed yet. She's only 18.
That's it.
And that's a wild one there from Miyazaki.
1.
Now it's shots like that, Steen, that convince me that the lengthways drift is going towards that far side of the court now as we look down on the court.
Boy, that was a lucky shot from Han Yue.
That came off the frame of the racket, didn't it? Or was it even a bit of a scoop shot?
Yeah, I think it came off the racket frame.
Yeah. 8-1. Well, she had a lot of options, did Han Yue, at the front of the court there. Found the net. And as far as Miyazaki and the home fans are concerned, that error won't come a moment too soon. Yeah, there's the sideways drift coming into play from right to left. Now, Steve, of course, we couldn't have the Japanese youngsters big build up
Yeah.
and look at the scoreline here. Of course, it's very, very early stages of the match. But as far as Han Yue is concerned, I think she's always sort of been in the shadows of the former Olympic champion, Chen Yufei, and now the recently retired Olympic silver medalist. But she's a very fine player.
She's a fine player, but she's her playing style is a little bit more locked. Well, that's I was going to say she's more like a rally style player, but that was a very, very good attack, and I think it's important to say that when we give these playing style assessments, it's not like we're putting someone in a box. The players here, they're so good that they can play different styles. It's just some are much better in their native playing style than they are in different tactical style. And I think Han Yue is relying a lot on moving her opponent around the court, playing great shots, moving herself very well as well.
I'd agree with that, yeah. I like that punch clear.
Yeah.
She's played it a couple of times, hasn't she? It's going to stay in.
Sometimes her shot movement reminds me a bit of the former international Chen Long's wife, Wang Xishan, where the left arm seems to hang loose alongside the body there and not do a whole lot. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it, but it's just
a style.
Style.
Missed it. So to the mid-game interval,
11-5,
and it is Han Yue, the number 5 seed, with an 11-5 lead here in the opening game. I make that only 6 minutes played. Just shy of 7. Oh, I'm a minute behind, Steve.
Yeah.
I'm in the different time zone.
Pot 1, 20 seconds. Pot 1, 20 seconds. Player. Player.
So the umpire asking the players to return to court. Now, the Japanese coach had her back to me. Is that Kaori?
Imabebo.
11-5.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting because, as far as I can see, Miyazaki is still listed as a member of the Japanese B team, where the women's singles coach, as far as I'm concerned, should be Choi Sang-bo, Korean, who previously coached both Okuhara and Yamaguchi on the A team. I think they sort of allocate him to develop Miyazaki and the next generation.
Yeah.
But it wasn't him here, but there's some. We'll try and find out throughout the tournament why that is. We've also seen that during Japan Open, there's a lot of local coaches involved. We saw in the match before, Ayo Hori's father was coaching Takuma Bayashi.
12-6.
Any thoughts, Steen, on what Miyazaki should be trying to do here to play herself back into this opening game?
I haven't really seen enough of the way I see it. I mean,
well, that's
something that you take into your book as a coach.
Yeah.
The tight drop shot, and what the tight drop shot does is that it makes the court bigger, as opposed to if the drop shot lands before after the service line at the front of the court, then it's just half a step for the opponent to get to it. But the extra step when the drop shots lands in front of that line, there it is. That eventually helps open up the court.
Oh, well taken.
Beautiful play.
Well taken indeed.
8-1.
Yeah, spotted the half chance and moved forward like greased lightning.
So we can name it the John Travolta footwork. Greased lightning.
Just long.
I think you might have a case there, Jill.
For my reading of the drift?
Yes.
Oh, well left. It is just long. That's very well done.
9-30.
It seems to me that just within 2 matches, the match between Naroka and Lee Chagyu, the shuttles seemed extremely slow. I don't think that's the case anymore. Lee and Naroka, they really punched their shots. I don't see Han and Miyazaki doing that the same way here. I think that's a good thing, actually. I thought they were a little bit too slow in the morning, the shuttles.
Just wide. Well, she had narrowed the gap. Obviously, it's now a 4-point advantage to this lady, Han Yue, but it had been down to 3 points. And when you consider that Miyazaki was 1-8 down, having lost 8 straight points, I think since that initial, I was going to say blip, but maybe 8 points is more than a blip, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's absolutely held her own, if not been better.
Yeah. Mistake from Han Yue.
11-14.
They haven't played each other before.
No, they haven't.
These two. Good shot.
Didn't finish it off. Oh, that's a lovely block, Han Yue. So it's that drop shot, absolute perfection. Wonderful.
15-11.
Gosh, that's lovely, isn't it? Plumb on the line. Too long. Oh, it's landed on the line.
16-11.
I'm even more convinced by the drift now. I can have only just caught the line. It was a lovely punch clear.
Play.
2 points.
17-11.
Quite cheaply, I think.
Yeah, and I think the signs after the interval is that Miyazaki is trying to take control of the rallies, and sometimes she's successful, and sometimes she overdoes it a little bit or fails to follow up the right way and to convert. So she's just too solid. And
12-17.
this time she converted.
Seemed to be more commitment going forward. Do you remember that rally? What was it, 4 or 5 rallies ago? And she got Han Yue out of position, but she didn't commit to the follow-up.
Yes.
That was much better.
Clever lift to the middle, because, I mean, she had to move straight backwards, Han Yue, and that's sometimes much more difficult than move to one of the corners. Look at that.
Service over.
Yeah, she knows that she didn't really get her feet in position for that one. Miyazaki.
Service over. 40-80.
Oh, that's loose.
A couple of those missed drop shots there.
40.
And that's the risk when you try to play it really close to the net in front of that white line, that you overdo it, that you sort of try to score a point directly off the drop shot. That's very, very difficult. You often end up making mistakes yourself, so you should use it to draw your opponent forward to the net and then attack from the positions that you can get from that.
So used as a build-up shot, not as the winner.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I was going to say, because I mean, if she's making errors with that reverse slice stroke drop from her forehand corner, Miyazaki, and I was going to say to you, is it something technical? But obviously, you've just explained it's nothing technical.
I think it's, she goes too much for it.
Yeah, tries to make it too tight.
Yeah.
That's a lovely net shot from Han Yue, and that brings her to game point opportunities. 5 of them, to be precise, for the number 5 seed from China.
One more.
Yeah. Opening game.
First game won by Han Yue, 21-15.
21-15 confirms our umpire. The opening game in favour of the number 5 seed, Han Yue of China. Opening game lasting about 18 minutes. Seeing as I was 2 minutes out on my calculations to the mid-game interval. Now I'll await the official time. 18 points indeed.
それを大丈夫です。わかりません。そこだとだからちょっと変にこう先出していこうとするときにエラー出てるから、気持ちは行こうはいいけど、そこタイミングしっかりちょっと掴みながら行ってね。
Pot 1, 20 seconds. Pot 1, 20 seconds.
沈めた球に対してのショートリターンっていうよりもドライブリターンとかも結構使ってくるから、こういう2球目の準備もしっかり。
So the final words of advice from Japanese youngster Miyazaki. Coach is using all of their allotted time for the 18-year-olds from Osaka.
Second game, level, play.
So 1 game to the goods, Han Yue, China. 21-15 opening game. She gets game number 2 underway now. Something quite extraordinary at the 2-minute timeout there. Of course, we saw the 2 coaches for Miyazaki, but no coach for Han Yue.
No coach for Han Yue. That's, I don't think I've ever seen it before, that a Chinese player doesn't have a coach. Her compatriot Jiang Yuman is playing on the adjacent court, and there's a coach sitting there, but normally there's more coaches that can step in and help in emergency. On the other hand, she did pretty well on her own, you have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Empty chairs. Oh, this is a challenge here.
Han Yue challenge called out.
But yeah, let's look at the challenge. I'm not sure she's going to win that.
Yeah, didn't seem enough time for the shuttle to get.
Oh, she was.
Correction in.
Swayed by the drift.
1,
But she was
2,
correct nonetheless.
play.
Well done, Han Yue.
Given the fact that Miyazaki got much better into the match after trailing by 7 points at 8-1. And if we're correct, because I'm joining you in your read of the wind, that she's playing up against the drift right now, then she might have a good chance here in the second game. Let's see what happens, whether Han Yue is going to take a little bit more controlling approach if she can.
That's nice.
3, 2.
Well, Chinese players have an extraordinary record in this Japan Open, Steen. We've had 40 previous official Japan Opens.
40.
40.
Yeah.
And Chinese players have won 25 of the previous 40 women's singles titles, including the first 10. That's extraordinary, isn't it? That's gone right. I think we're definitely right about the sideways.
Yeah.
Last winner from China of the women's singles here, Steen. Only 8 years ago.
8 years ago, that was 2016, that was the Olympics. Li Shurui?
No.
No?
Hebing Jiao
Hebing Jiao, wow.
beat Sun Yu in the Chinese final. And the last women's singles finalist from China here at women's singles.
I'm blank, I'm just guessing. Chen Yufei.
Hebing Jiao again.
Hebing Jiao again? Why isn't she here to sort of say farewell to one of her successful tournaments?
Exactly. Yeah, she was beaten in the final last year against Unsei Young, if you remember. I'm sure you
Obviously I didn't.
Well, you will remember now, I've told you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember.
So that was the Olympic final we had here last year without knowing it.
Exactly. Gosh, we'll miss Hebing Jiao, won't we, Steen?
Yeah.
I know you were a big fan of hers. That's well right.
Service
Lovely skills,
5,
lovely personality.
Personality was not so easy to see on court, but if you went to the practice hall or outside, she was a keen photographer as well. Sometimes she was walking around with the camera. And,
Courtside.
Yeah.
That's just wide as well. But I don't know if the same happened to you, but Herbing Zhao used to chat to me a lot. Her English is really rather good.
I know her
Yeah.
English is good.
Yeah, we'll all miss her, but we all wish her very much success in whatever she decides to do next. Success and happiness. Oh, that's a great shot, my goodness me.
7-4.
Yeah, and I actually read that she, to clarify things, that she hasn't retired from badminton totally. She's retired from international badminton, but
That's
has gone
correct.
back to her provincial team in Jiangsu province. Oi.
Service over.
There was the sideways drift again.
Yeah.
5-7.
Yeah, of course, need a bit of a mop. Well, we've talked about a Chinese success in the women's singles here at the Japan Open. Only 2 Japanese players have won the women's singles title here. Between them, they've won 4 titles. Akane Yamaguchi has won 3, and the other one is Okuhara, who won in 2015, beating Yamaguchi in the final. Quite extraordinary, though, Steen, that it took until the 32nd edition of the Japan Open before a home player won any title across all 5 disciplines, and that was Yamaguchi.
Yeah, it was
Service over.
it was a great turnaround that they started out there in the early 2000s. I think it was Park Jabong
Yeah.
arrived as head coach. When I started following badminton, Japan was also strong with Saori Kondo and Hiroyuki as women's singles players. But then in the 80s and 90s was China and Korea was dominating, and
Yeah.
Japan disappeared a little bit.
Yuriko Hirose was in the final of this, and she's just sitting down near us, commentating for the local network. It wasn't Hirose that's commentating. I've just given you completely duff information.
Yeah, that's so used to the.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Got to be careful, Han Yue, I suspect.
Sumiko Kitada is the one I'm thinking of, who's commentating for the local network. Oh, that's loose. Yeah, well taken. Well taken. This is becoming very interesting.
That's one of the keys to put pressure. Here we saw it. She was caught off guard, didn't have time to swing the racket arm, so to speak, Han Yue, and that's one of the ways you can put pressure on the Chinese player.
Well, the run of points comes to an end, but there have been 4 straight points for the Japanese youngster, Miyazaki. And I think the point you made a little earlier, Steen, is that Miyazaki, I think she's able to punch through with those clears a little more.
Yeah.
And I think that's making quite a difference.
Technically, she's got more options.
Yeah.
And that's strong play, because I feel that that's super important that you are able to put it away from the front court, and that has not been typical within the women's singles, that players have been able to do that a lot of players have been relying on beautiful skills from the backcourt and trying to hit winners from there. I think that's going to be more and more difficult in the future. So you've got to play well from the midcourt area and forward, and you have to be able to put the shuttle away from those positions.
Yeah. Ah. Now we have the Chinese coach.
Coach has arrived.
So it is Han Yue who goes to the mid-game interval with the 1 point advantage.
Hot 1, 20 seconds. Hot 1, 20 seconds.
All of 20 seconds Could you see who the Chinese coach was, Steen?
I couldn't see it.
No.
(11-10). Play.
I thought from afar it looked like Lindan, but that must be wrong.
Yeah. That's a good shot. And again.
She's been a little bit short.
This is a good rally. Wow, what a net shot from Han Yue.
12.
You don't get any better than that. Take a look at this. Oh,
Oy.
perfection.
That is so difficult to do that, to get it actually to have its top point on your own side of the court and then move downwards, take the top of the tape and roll over.
Play.
Well, that was mighty close. I'm not surprised that Han Yue has decided to challenge that. It was a lovely idea, though, no doubt about it.
Good deception.
Chobin?
Yeah.
Oh, it just caught the line.
Challenges unsuccessful. One challenge remaining.
What a good call by the line judge.
11-12. Play.
Good flick. Oh, yes. Now, I like that, Steen, because how many times has she followed up quickly, Miyazaki, and trying to play the hard push as a winner?
Yeah.
That's a lovely change-up in tactic. Good thinking, good awareness.
she pushes her sort of basic shots, the clears, the lifts a little bit, then Han Yue falls. I didn't say fall behind. I have said fall behind. She falls behind and has to make up for it by her speed of movement. So that's where the technical skills are in favor of Miyazaki. And I think this is a very, very important phase of the match.
4 straight points.
And really needs to claw back now if she wants to win this, I think. Good shot.
5 straight points. In fact, it's 10 of the last 14 points to Miyazaki. One loose one, and this lady is far too experienced not to convert and take full advantage.
30-50. Thank you.
There was a big gap there, wasn't there? Out of position, Miyazaki.
50.
It was the body smash that didn't get far enough towards the backhand side of the body of Han Yue that caused the trouble for Miyazaki.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, she's hit it long. Pretty much anywhere over and in would have sufficed and would have won the rally. Look how out of balance Han Yue was there. So back to level 15 all. This is the thing, isn't it, with experienced players?
Yes.
I mean, when you try and define experience, you know, it's difficult to verbalise it. But what we're watching here is experience.
Yeah, it is so difficult because here I think it's about sort of playing the shots that you know is working and trying to make it more powerful. Sometimes it's about taking chances and variating and so on and finding that right solution. That's experience.
Yeah. 4 straight points to go into the lead for Han Yue.
A little bit lucky in my book because I mean it was Han Yue who was conducting all of the rally except for the last 2 shots. I think she needs to take initiative, Miyazaki. I can understand that missing that opportunity that you mentioned on the net sort of scares you a little bit, but I still think that's the way to go. Initiative.
Yeah, you've got to have the courage to do that.
Yes.
Because you miss one and you sort of think, oh, I don't want my mates to look silly again by missing another.
Good net play by Han.
This is such an important round. It is indeed long.
17-16.
This is far from over yet.
That's a great shot.
Oh, he's going
Terrible shot.
wide.
Service over.
The first one was an absolute beauty.
17 all.
Come on, Steen, don't mince your words. Say what you think.
Yeah, but it was. I had no idea where it was coming. I was sort of like moving to the right here in my chair, and it came to the left.
Yeah.
But the last one showed the lack of following up on the front court. Oh, that's lucky.
Well, she's going to challenge.
is called out.
If she's wrong, she's got no challenges left in this second game, but that was mighty close, wasn't it? I think it may have been just wide.
Yeah, it was wide.
Interesting how you're looking up to the giant scoreboard. She hadn't realised that there's a little television screen monitor just by the umpire's chair. Indeed, I was right. It was just wide of the mark. So no challenges left for Han Yue in this second game.
Service over.
That could prove costly.
18-17. Play.
Oh, it's a good body smash. We haven't seen many of those.
19.
I love it. Attack when it's close.
Because you're not so affected by nerves if you hit hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she is affected by nerves, but it's handling nerves. That's the question.
It'd be extraordinary if she wasn't affected by nerves. Oh, that's loose. Oh, she's missed another.
She can feel, Miyazaki, she can feel herself that she's got a chance in this one here.
Yeah.
Apart from the first 9 rallies, she's played better than her opponent in this match.
Well, she was affected by the last time that she made an error on what could potentially have been a winning shot from the net.
That's a good point.
Can she hold herself together? $18-19. That's long. 19 all.
19 all.
Who's got the nerve? We know who has the experience.
Play.
And she can't challenge even if she wanted to, Han Yue, because she's out of challenges. And it is now a game point opportunity for the 18-year-old from Japan, Miyazaki. Stay in with the drift.
Service over.
I think the last meter or so, it might have been outside of the line at some point.
Yeah, look at that drive. Look how it's come back in, affected by the grid. So it is 20 all and extra points required until there's a clear 2-point winning margin.
It's a good one. She missed it.
That's 3 she's missed from that forehand net, Miyazaki.
21-20.
So, having survived a game point now, the number 5 seed, Han Yue, has a match point opportunity.
Good retrieval.
How did she get that? Brilliant. Weathered the storm, did Han Yue of China. Coming from a 17-19 deficit to win in 2 straight games. The second game, 22-20. Well, I think we've seen enough of Miyazaki in this particular match to know that our predictions and assessment that she is a huge talent. I think there's no doubt about it. This is the final rally. Desperate efforts from Miyazaki on that final shot, but she was too far out of position. And all credit to Han Yue, who played so well at the critical times. 21-15, 22-20, and Han Yue safely through to the second round. Welcome back to Yokohama. It is first round action today, and after that excellent women's singles, we'll turn our attention to men's doubles.